Greetings LEGO fans! For today's build, we have something that I've been waiting to build since I was a little child. This Catamaran kit number 42105 at 404 pieces, actually floats. I can't tell you how many different things I brought into the bath with me and played with, and no matter how hard I tried to stick those bricks together really hard, or whatever combination of things I tried, it always eventually sank. And, became a LEGO submarine, which was still fun, but it's not what I wanted. But this one, having some non-standard pieces, or I'm not quite sure what it is, we'll have a better look at it when we build it, has some watertight components that'll keep this one afloat, and I'm excited. So, let's open the box, get the build under the way, so I can play with it.
Alright, so I've built it, I've played with it, and now I'd like to tell you a little bit about it. First of all, with these bright blue and green colors, and standing at about 42 centimeters or just over 16 inches tall, this kit is quite eye-catching and stands out at a distance. And being a Technics kit, it's also loaded with a host of mechanical features that mimic the functionality of a real racing catamaran. But that's not why we're here. We really want to know, does it float? And the answer is yes. It's quite buoyant, it doesn't want to be sunk, and most importantly, it's a lot of fun to play with. And to add to the adventures that you could take this catamaran on, there's also, as I mentioned, a host of mechanical features that will only enrich the story as you progress. As you can see here, and you might want to pause the video if you want to have a closer look, there's a bunch of mechanical linkages that go from two levers at the back of the boat right to the front, where they reach up to the two sails. And flipping these levers back and forth allow you to shift the sails from the left to the right side of the boat, which is something you want to do to make sure you're always catching the wind at the optimal angle so you can get that maximum speed. Unfortunately, I noticed that one of the links on the bottom of the ship tends to come off after you flip it around a bunch of times. That's not the worst thing, but if you're in the middle of a story, it kind of like breaks the flow a little bit, so a little extra connector here for a little more support I think would have been a good idea. Next up, on top of each of the pontoons, we have this little worm gear setup. This can be rotated to lower the rudder down from the pontoon. And for those of you who aren't aware, this is needed because when this thing gets up to full speed, it goes really fast, and the pontoon can lift clear out of the water. So having this thing lowered down gives it an extra bit of control, and definitely adds an extra element of fun when your imagination brings this boat to full speed. And finally, there's a little rudder control in the back, because of course you want to be able to steer your ship. Unfortunately, I have found that the ship is not unsinkable. The second time I took it in the bath, I left it in there as the water was filling, so I'm guessing as the water got full enough, it eventually drifted over to under the tap. And when I found it later on, one pontoon was under the tap, completely submerged and totally waterlogged. I lifted it up out of the water drained out of it really quickly, and it became floatable pretty directly, so that was great. But I'm a little disappointed. And I was paying attention to it a little bit, and I found that even as it was sitting in the bath, it did take on a little bit of water. So you can't leave it there indefinitely. I think overnight it might sink. I'm not sure. But I think that's in large part because they put this little slope at the front of the pontoon, making this seem a little lower down than it needed to be. It's a little stylish looking, I guess, but I think it would have been better had they just made it straight blue across the whole bottom, and then it definitely wouldn't have taken on any water. Additionally, given its size, I think it's fair enough to mention that I found it to be a little large to play with in the bath. I mean, I certainly had a lot of fun with it, but if I want to take it on the true adventures I wanted to, I think I need a little more space, swimming pool, river, lake, something with a little more room to maneuver. But this is in no way a criticism. I'm definitely loving this. I've wanted floating Lego my whole life. Are these pontoons cheating? You know what? I'm going to say probably. They're not like any other bricks out there. They really fill something that didn't exist before in a way that couldn't happen with standard bricks. But I love it anyway because, you've heard me say it. This is what I've been wanting for my whole life. And one day I'm definitely going to rebuild this into something else. This is definitely not a display piece. It's made to be played with. What I would love to do in my ultimate creation is to make something that's either like a motorized boat or a sailboat where the sails can flick back and forth under, Technics power function controls, maybe some pneumatics. But definitely, if I'm going to do that, I'll need another set of pontoons because I don't think this will stay high enough out of the water once you load on the motors and the battery pack and everything. But you know what? I'm just excited about the future of what I can do with this. So I'm going to give this kit a great review because it's a lot of fun, it has a lot of potential, opens a lot of possibilities that weren't there before. And if you missed playing with that boat in your bath as a kid, or if you want to provide that for your child, I suggest you get this kit.